if a story changes your behavior, that I feel is the highest form of story. And that is what I feel a creator should try to achieve through their content. The best place to learn this is our own culture. Like all our Puranas and Itihasas and Panchatantra, the way we are being taught about storytelling marketing is to manipulate people, to create fake urgency, to say that if you don't do this by 12 o'clock today, you won't get the discount. Stupid. When Steve Jobs was building Apple, Apple was that kind of a brand. That was the kind of questions that Steve Jobs used to ask. Like, how can my iPhone create transformation in people's lives? Kind of questions we should be asking when we are building our immortal brands. You need to have a lot of care, a lot of empathy for people. That is human, man. You're not a machine. Let ChatGPT do the job of being a machine. If you want to really dominate AI, learn how to express your feelings. That's how you will dominate AI. Don't be disconnected from your feelings. Be very deeply connected with it.
Even if we have to make a Sundar Bharat, we have to start with the feeling of disgust. What is happening around us right now?
Unfortunately, you have been trained systematically and brainwashed to believe that feelings are stupid. The people who are teaching this to us are using it against us. Millions of dollars were poured in teams who specialized in behavioral sciences in different universities across the world. And they worked day and night to figure out techniques to get you to do things. This is the war we are fighting. So, yeah, I'm interested to only teach stories that help you deliver transformation or transform people. If you want to learn that, then this is the place.
We as a country, we as a civilization rather, we have had an exemplary storytelling tradition, right? And
Yeah.
I think a lot of our successes have been because of that exemplary storytelling.
Mm.
So, for any business or for any content creation, how important is storytelling and what kind of storytelling should we be focusing on?
Mm. Okay. See, when you go out and learn storytelling, you search on YouTube, you search on Google, there are 1,000 reasons for which you can learn storytelling. Some will teach storytelling on how to, because you should be able to sell products. Some will show you how to entertain people. If you go into the comic world, they will show you how to make people laugh through your stories. So stories have like many reasons to do it, right? The one
Hmm.
that I'm really interested in is to tell stories to transform people. Like if a story changes your behavior, that I feel is the highest form of story. Okay. And what do I mean by transform? It means it changes the behavior of a person. If you're smoking, you quit smoking after listening to a story. You may have heard of these stories of people where they say, I watched this movie and it changed my life. I read this book, it changed my life, right? That is what I feel a story should be achieving. And that is what I feel a creator should try to achieve through their content, is to transform people. And there is a lot that goes into it. And the best place to learn this is our own culture. Like all our Puranas and Itihasas and Panchatantra. And there are so many different stories that we have, uh, that when you go deeper into it, it just deeply transforms you and it permanently changes you. It just raises your energy. So when a story raises your energy, it transforms. How does that happen? Okay. So for any change of behavior to happen, you need to raise your energy. You need your body to have a lot of energy in it so that it can be used as a fuel to shift something. Because let's say you have a satellite rotating around the earth, right? If you don't change the energy of that satellite, if you don't push it in any other direction, it will keep going in the same loop. It won't change ever. In order for that satellite to go towards the earth or away from the earth, you need to apply energy, right? In the same way, our lives are always going in patterns, in the same circles again and again, again and again, right? Until you don't put that energy into that satellite to change its trajectory, it won't change. the direction in which it is going. Okay. And that is what a story does. A powerful story will add so much energy inside you as a person that you will start shifting your trajectory of life. And that is the art. That is the art I want to teach. That is the art I want to. That is the kind of storytelling I want to really teach for whoever who is selling the products, building a business. Even if you're building a business, let's say, um, if you see, there is what are you doing when you are buying a product or when you're doing the purchase? You're removing your credit card and making that transaction, right? You're taking an action, and that action requires you to learn how to create that much energy inside my body as your customer, as your adhikari, to take that card out and give that money to you. And if you don't learn how to build up that energy inside my body, take that action that you want me to take, then I won't make the purchase, right? The way we are being taught about storytelling marketing is to manipulate people, to create fake urgency, to say that if you don't do this by 12 o'clock today, you won't get the discount. That's stupid. I just think that's not the right way to uh, get people to make the transaction, because maybe they will do the transaction. It works. I'm not saying it does not work. But will people be with you across the complete journey? They will buy your product, but will they use it? Because if they don't use it, they won't purchase again from you. They won't stick with you forever. They won't keep getting value from you, right? Because you did a very low energy thing. You manipulated them into buying, right? You're not building a sustainable, profitable business. You're not building a brand. You're just creating a transaction. That's something you're doing. That's all you're doing.
Hmm.
So your goal as an entrepreneur, founder, creator should be to transform people. So you could be an app developer. So you may have built some kind of a social media app sitting here in India or somewhere out in the world. What is the transformation you're delivering through that app? Ask this question to yourself. Or if you are uh, building a consumer brand, which is, let's say, a clothing brand, nobody must have asked you this question. What is the transformation you're going to deliver through your clothing brand? Why? Because it's a very high energy question. It's not easy to answer. Most people will just get turned off when they listen to this. Like, इसमें क्या transformation है? What's the transformation in just buying the clothes? You just fucking buy the clothes because you need clothes. You know, if you are that kind of a founder who gives that kind of answer, just go and watch some other video. This is not for you, right? If you have the energy inside you, enough energy in your body to answer this question, you will be building an immortal brand, a brand that has so much energy in it that it won't matter how big your competition is and who your competition is. When Steve Jobs was building Apple, Apple was that kind of a brand. That was the kind of questions that Steve Jobs used to ask. Like, how can my iPhone create transformation in people's lives? Right? That should be the kind of questions we should be asking when we are building our immortal brands. An immortal brand is simply a brand that has so much energy in it that it just feeds itself with a lot of cash, and it keeps building more and more value for other people. So, yeah, I'm interested to only teach stories that help you deliver transformation or transform people. And if you want to learn that, then this is the place. That is the goal.
Yeah, so in a way, when we try to run a sustainable business, it also means that you're caring for your customers, your clients. The
Yes,
care about people, you are the adhikaris, right? Of your
yes,
product, of your services should be the core, at the core of your business, right?
yeah,
That should
yeah,
be the core idea, because for having that kind of energy, you should have a lot of positivity inside you. Because if manipulation or fake selling or fake promises, all this is very negative, right?
Yeah. So I'll tell
So,
you what is the quality you need to have
hmm,
if you want to learn transformational storytelling, immortal storytelling, stories that stay way beyond the normal human time scales, right? If you want to create that kind of narratives, then there are three qualities you need to have. The first is you need to have a very strong desire to create an impact on humanity. If you're not that ambitious, this is not the path for you. I think you should rather learn some other kind of storytelling that are being taught on YouTube. So you can go ahead and learn that. Uh, but if you're the kind of person who has been feeling like what am I doing with my life? I have so much more to add to this world, and I'm not able to do that. I don't feel valuable enough. I don't feel I have completely used my full potential. If you are that kind of person, then you should be learning this kind of narrative, this kind of storytelling, which is, I would like to call it immortal storytelling, right? Stories that never die. The second quality you need to have is you need to have a lot of care, a lot of empathy for people, right? For some section of society, right? I care about creators and founders, and I would love to keep creating for this section of society because I feel they move the civilization forward. The creators, entrepreneurs, founders are the ones who are responsible for world peace. I strongly believe that because if a civilization keeps creating value, others don't want to, they want to cooperate with you because you are very valuable, right? You keep attracting a lot of cash, a lot of money. People in your country are always happy because you are able to attract a lot of money. Of course, considering that all the people in the country learn how to create that value. And I want this especially for India. I want all our countrymen to learn how to create that much value, how to be so valuable, uh, how to be some kind of creator, entrepreneur, intrapreneur. Like if you're inside a company, you can still create, be very, very valuable. Right? How to do that? And when you learn that, right, you also feel a sense of freedom because now you know that you're not one cog in a wheel, right? A big system. There's someone who can, even if tomorrow you have to leave one place, you can go in another place and still create more value out of nothing because you know the principles of creating value. You know the laws of nature that help you in creating value, right? So I care about them. I care about creators. So empathy is the other quality that you need. And the third quality is you need to learn how to communicate your thoughts clearly and precisely. If your communication is bad, first go ahead and learn how to communicate. There is a book called as How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Read that book. It's a very good book. And then there is a video, a 1 hour video on communication by Guruji. Just search for Communication Guru Pashupati. Just search for this. You will find a video. Watch it a couple of times because the way he has taught communication is very different from what you have learned so far. So you might need some time to really get used to those ways of thinking. So watch that video and learn the communication there. Prastuti is writing a book based on that video as well. So whenever she writes and publishes that book, you can read that book as well. So these are the three qualities you need to have the adhikar to learn immortal storytelling, magnetic storytelling. Okay. What do I mean by adhikar? So this is again a very different way of looking at storytelling. When you're creating your narratives, what you have been taught is who is who has the problem or the pain for whom this knowledge is good, or in other ways, who desperately needs my product, right? The whole marketing education is based on selling for desperation. But if you look at the way we have done it in our culture, we have sold it for adhikar. It's like, do you have the right to this knowledge, not the desperation for this knowledge, right? Do you have the jidnyasa for this knowledge? You know what is jidnyasa? Jidnyasa,
yes.
no, it's not curious. Curiosity is very loosely translated in English, but the right word for jidnyasa is it's it's an It's a very, very deep desire to know something.
Mm.
Curious, what happens is when you say curious, it is directionless. Sometimes you are just curious for no reason. Like you're just curious because it is interesting, but it does not lead you to any goal. But when you have a strong desire to know something because you want to achieve something as a result of knowing it, right? That is jitnasa. It's like I want to learn how to make money. That's why I want to learn magnetic storytelling. And if you have a very strong desire in you to do that, that is jitnasa. Okay. So this is what is taught in our culture. We are not taught to learn something just for out of curiosity. We are taught to learn because we have a strong desire to achieve something, and there is a gap in knowledge to achieve that. And then we are decided, then we have the adhikar to learn it. We don't have, in our culture, we are not asked for a degree. We are not asked for, okay, what family you come from or anything like that. The only thing that qualifies you for a certain knowledge is your ichha shakti. If you have the strong desire to achieve a goal, but you don't know how to do it, and you're like hungry for it, like hungry, I want to know it because I want to achieve this, then you have the adhikar of learning this knowledge, right? So that is why if you look at read any shastras, right? This is mentioned in the beginning of the shastra that who is this knowledge for? Who has the adhikar of this knowledge? That's the rule of every shastra. It is called as Anubandha Chatushtay. There are four elements in a shastra that need to be decided. What is the Vishay, which is the subject? What is the Prayojan of the subject, which is what is the goal of the subject? What is the connection between the subject and the goal? Okay. How does this subject lead you to the goal? You have to explain that. I can tell you magnetic narratives can help you make a lot of money, but how? Right? So that is the connection. So the way I will explain the connection is when you create magnetic narratives, people get attracted to that story. You bring them in your universe. Then you remove all their obstacles that is stopping them from taking action. And then when you remove the obstacle, the action happens. You create a lot of Kriya Shakti. And when you create a lot of Kriya Shakti and they take action, they get transformed. And with the transformation, they get the knowledge that they need to have, right? Which is the Jnana Shakti, Gyan Shakti. So basically, you create a narrative, attract people, help them destroy all the obstacles, get them to take action, and action leads you to transformation. That is the connection that magnetic narrative leads to transformation. Okay. And the fourth element is adhikari. Who has the right to this knowledge? Or the other way of framing this question is what are the qualities you need to have to understand this knowledge? Like I can give you an entire book about Ayurveda, but if you don't have a strong desire to heal people, a strong ethical, moral stand that I want to help people, regardless of whether it is COVID or normal times. And if you don't have the intellectual capacity to understand all that complex knowledge, then you, no matter how badly you read, that's why, these Western researchers come and start reading these books and create their own interpretations without having the adhikar to read it. The interpretations are all off. They just don't get it because what was your intention behind looking at that chapter? So we have always established if you come with this intention, only then this subject will give you the result or it won't give you the result. Now, if you come from a very different intention of taking your lens of science and looking at Ayurveda, and then it doesn't make sense to you, and then you start saying it's a pseudoscience, right? That's the whole problem with the interpretation of Ayurveda by the scientific community, right? Because you never had the adhikar to go through it. And by adhikar, it just means you never had the right qualities that are required to understand the subject. So, whenever you're creating something as a creator, sit down and do this exercise. And this usually works when you are discussing it with a friend who really understands it. So if you want to do this discussion, send this video to a friend. Let them also understand this framework of the four elements. Vishay, Prayojan, Sambandh, Adhikari, which is subject, goal, connection, and who has the right to the knowledge. I'll keep the Adhikari as Adhikari because there is no English word for that, right? So until you don't decide these four elements for yourself, it is very difficult to be able to create a transformational experience for people, a transformative experience for people, right? You need to be able to decide this. And the best way to do it is to speak with a friend, let the friend ask you questions, and you just answer those questions. And slowly you will start getting an idea. In 84-day challenge, we have been doing this with everyone. And it is blowing everybody's mind because they never thought they will get such a level of clarity after doing this simple exercise. And this is not me. This is just a rishis doing some amazing mind hacks, coming up with ways to help you create shastras. This is for the modern rishi. If you are a rishi, if you feel that in some of your past life you were some kind of a rishi, and now in this lifetime you want to create that impact with your knowledge, with the experience you have, with the insights you have, then try to use this. I'm sure it will unlock a lot of secrets within yourself. You know what this does, Prastiti? These four elements, they are like the prompt for your internal GPT. Right? You give this prompt to yourself. You say, this is the subject I want to build an expertise in. This is the goal I want to achieve. This is the connection between the subject and the goal. And this is the person who has the right to learn it. All of a sudden, you will start getting a lot of ideas on how to teach it, who to teach it to, what to say. Now, everything I'm saying, I'm sure there are so many people who they'll say, what is this guy saying? He's not even making sense. And I want it. But then, there will be very few people who will be like, dude, I have never heard this, and all of this is making so much sense. And I want them. These are the kind of people we want in our community. We want them in our WhatsApp group to come in and just start learning what this is, right? And learn how to create content in a way that builds your energy. When you do this in this way, you will not have any imposter syndrome, right? You'll, because I'll tell you why. The connection, right? There are three connections. I only explained one connection to you. One connection is what is the connection of the subject with the goal. There is a second connection. What is your connection with the subject? There are two types of connections mostly. Either you are a student of the subject or you are an expert of the subject, right? The beauty is you are allowed to be a student of the subject as well. Charak Samhita, Charak was a student of the subject. He was not the expert of the subject. You know how it was written? About 81 to 84 rishis came together. They sat together and they started meditating and gaining insights into the science of healing. And they started sharing whatever insight they are getting to Charak. And Charak was sitting there documenting every single insight in whatever sequence it was coming, right? And later he compiled all of this knowledge and gave it a structure. Charak's teacher was the main guy who actually, like everything that is there in Charak Samhita, it was Charak's teacher who gave so much knowledge. But Charak did such a good job in compiling and structuring the whole thing that the whole book got named as Charak Samhita. Got it? So you have to be that kind of an adhikari to be able to do it. So anyway, try to do this with a friend. Create a, send this video to them. Let them understand what this framework is. Then get on a call and start brainstorming. If you are inside the group, inside the community, consider this as lesson one after being part of the community. Ask in the group who would like to do a brainstorming with you on the four elements and do the brainstorming with them in the group. Like you set up a call with them and do it. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, so as a testament to the how we actually are practicing what we are preaching is the fact that this is how this entire book and this podcast series developed, right, and would be developing. We decided on a call, okay, let's talk about it, how we want to go about writing this book. And we decided that it would be better if we were just talking about it instead of traditionally how it is done is we, not traditionally as in ancient India, but in the past few decades, that we sit down alone and we write it and then we exchange notes if two people are doing it. So we decided that we would be sitting down together and this podcast would be converted into a book, right?
Yes,
And while we are discussing the book, we realized that it could actually be converted into a podcast. So the podcast and the writing the book part could be going together hand in hand. And a very good thing is that we don't, whatever we are doing, we are just doing it while recording, right? We don't have to do a lot of background preparation for it, because we don't have to have a set of questions which we exchange or something. In fact, last night we were discussing how we should go about doing it, and we posted like two messages. And today I just knew it in the morning. I told Prathamesh, let's just forget about these questions. Let's just do the podcast and we'll figure it out, right?
yeah,
So it
yeah,
took a different turn, right?
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
We first of all, there are two things. First is this idea of lone creator, lonely creator, like to go yourself in isolation and you try to create. It's a very bad idea. This is not how it was created. We have always been collaborative creators, co-creators. There are so many examples in our past where people came together and created. That's why I love filmmaking, because that's one profession in today's time where people come together to create. It is so much fun, like everyone coming up with different ideas and trying to add to that story and make that story much better. It's a magical process. And I used to think, why don't people write stories in that way? But like even content creation has to be collaborative. It cannot be someone in isolation. I would also suggest all of you guys to, like, especially those who are in a WhatsApp group, get on a call, start recording your podcast, start asking questions to each other, record that, and then upload it. Go crazy with collaborations. I'm telling you, it's very powerful, because it's way different to speak to a real human being and answer their questions, and their real questions that they are, really finding an answers to, compared to speaking to a camera which does not have a human behind it to speak to you. So do this, man. And the second is not trusting your intuition, right? We have been systematically taught to distrust our intuition, to distrust our feelings, and say that all of these are biases, all of these are things that are not useful. If you want to be a storyteller, or if you want to be a creator, you need to get really in tune with your feelings. For example, whatever I am speaking right now, I am very in tune with my feelings. I'm making sure that whatever I am saying is coming from my heart, not from my brain. Like physically, it is coming from my heart. Like my focus is right now here. Okay, this is a kriya. This is one of the secret kriyas of infusing your uh, content with a lot of energy, which is to like have your focus, your attention here on your heart, and then speak. Okay, speak from your heart. When people say speak from your heart, take it literally. It is a kriya. Have your focus here and then try to speak. You will see a difference, man. You'll see the difference in the energy that you have. But you know what is taught to you? Write a script, memorize a script, and speak from here. You don't have any expressions in your face. Then you have to go and do a separate course on how to do acting, how to do voice modulation. That's a separate course that you have to do. You don't have to do all of this when you're speaking from here. Right? This is where you speak from, because when you're speaking, the energy goes from here to here in this chakra, the throat chakra, and then it gets uh, translated into your voice, right? Para Pashanti Madhyama Vaikhari. What is para? Para, basically, this para Pashanti Madhyama Vaikhari is the sequence in which our thoughts, like in the sequence in which we communicate authentic things. Whenever you're speaking something authentically, it goes through this sequence. Para Pashanti Madhyama Vaikhari. And I'll tell you the meaning of it. Para is feeling. Okay. So whatever you're saying, first you have to feel that. If you don't feel it, then it does not come out. It is not something that is authentic. Once you feel something, it creates a visual in your mind. You have to be able to see it. Like even if my eyes are on you, on the back of my mind, there are a lot of visuals that are getting created, right? Now, whatever that visuals are, they don't have to make sense to you, but they have to be connected to that feeling, right? Then those visuals and feelings turn into thoughts. Parapashanti Madhyama. So Madhyama is the thoughts. It is the articulation of the thought. So everything that I am saying, before I say, they get articulated as words. And for me, it is like a split second difference. Like every single word that is coming from my mouth, it is just like split second before it got created in my head, and then it got expressed. So it's not a lot, but if you are a rishi who has meditated for thousands of years, whoever decoded this, they realized, okay, whenever I speak, before speaking, a thought emerges first, and then the words come out. And so that is what they realized. So Madhyama is the thought, and Vaikhari is the expression. Then you express it. And when all of this happens in real time, for example, my feeling, my para to Vaikhari, the speed at which it comes out is split second. Like it's just, I'm just whatever I'm feeling, I'm just speaking. So what happens? My voice gets modulated automatically. My hands are moving automatically. My face expression is changing automatically. I don't have to worry about anything, right? If I'm happy, my face automatically shows. If I'm sad, my face shows. If I'm angry, my face shows. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to learn acting. You don't have to learn how to deliver your voice, deliver your dialogues, everything. It's just very simple, straightforward, right? So that is why you should start trusting your feeling. If you want to create authentically, learn how to go from para, pashanti, madhyama, vaikhari. Okay. There are certain meditations that we teach in uh, our courses to make this even more powerful. But right now, I can't teach it just like this publicly because I'm not allowed to. So, yeah, that's it.
I'm having so much fun. I can't stop smiling, and my jaw is hurting. Smiling.
Yeah.
It's such a great learning experience. You discover things about yourself through storytelling, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, my next question is how storytelling affects our personality, how it brings transformations to our personality, and how those transformations translate into more success in whatever endeavors we have decided to take.
Yeah. See, has it happened to you that you get a lot of ideas, but if you have not documented them, they just disappear and no matter how hard you try, you don't remember those ideas,
Yes,
right?
true.
Because they get
Yes,
lost in the para world, the world of
yes.
para and Pashyanti, right? Whenever you want to take something to a definite conclusion, you have to take action on it.
Mm.
And expressing what you are feeling, seeing, and thinking is an action. Pashyanti is an action. Vaikhari is an action. Sorry, not Pashyanti. Vaikhari is an action, which is expression, right? Sorry, my frame shifted. Yeah. So, what happens when you express something? It becomes concrete, right? When you watch your video about whatever you said, you get a feedback on who you are. You will be surprised that this is how I am thinking, right? For example, the previous episode we released, you looked at yourself and you realized so many mistakes you were making. Look at you now. In fact, I would encourage everyone to go back on the previous episode, watch that episode, look at Prastuti and look at me, how we were doing all of this. I have also improved by watching that video a lot, right? Same with Prastuti. Look at the frame you have now. Look at the way you are expressing yourself. Look at the way you're presenting and showing up. It's crazy improvement. If this is not personality development, what is, right? So, this is the power of being able to express yourself magnetically in a way that is authentic, in a way that really deeply connects with you and your feelings. Okay. It becomes magnetic. When you're feeling your story, when you're feeling your thoughts, like feeling everything and then expressing yourself, it becomes magnetic because that is human, man. You're not a machine. Let ChatGPT do the job of being a machine. Your job is to just feel it. You know what we are doing nowadays? We have changed our process completely, whether it is creating content or doing anything. We get on a Zoom call, we record the call, okay? And all of us do just one thing. Whatever we are feeling in terms of this is how the content should be, this is what we should speak, etc., we record it. Zoom creates a transcription of the entire call. We put it into ChatGPT and we ask ChatGPT to extract all the insights. And then we tell ChatGPT to start creating content based on the insights that we created in the call. So we don't have to sit and start writing anymore. Sorry. Right. So this is a very powerful way. Even when you have to use AI, how do you amplify that? By doing this, by creating an input for ChatGPT that is charged with a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. Emotions is not the right word, but a lot of feelings. And you do that by first being in touch with your feeling and speak it. You know how fun this is? Every day I get on a call with the team, with you, with so many people, and we just speak, we record this call, and then that becomes the raw material for content, raw material for marketing and everything. It's awesome. It's so much fun. So we need to do that. We need to figure this uh, idea of how to connect our feelings with our expression. That's your unique quality in the age of AI. If you want to really dominate AI, learn how to express your feelings. That's how you will dominate AI age.
In fact, people are so scared of AI. I don't understand why. The only thing is, it will force you to come out of your comfort zone, right? That is the only
Yeah.
thing AI would force you to do. And I think that is the challenge which most of us get scared of.
I
But
don't know what's
once
the
we
in fact for me it's the other way around. I got more comfortable with AI. It's like now things are so easy, man. I don't have to sit and type such a long thing, you know. I just have to speak and it writes it down.
So if you're a master storyteller, if you have a good command on storytelling, you don't have to be scared of AI, right? You can use it as a tool, a very
Yeah, that's
important,
again
significant
coming back
one.
to feelings, right? You know what happens when I give all of this input to AI and AI gives me some kind of an output? When I'm reading it, I'm not thinking that content, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Okay, whatever the AI has written, am I feeling anything? If I'm not, I tell like what is missing to AI, and then AI tunes into that feeling of mine and then modifies the write up. So if we're creating uh, content for a landing page, if we are sending a message to customers of our clients of uh, whatever the ad needs to go out, if we are creating a script for an ad, anything, right? We all we do is we try to feel it. You know what is the brief I have for my editor? Just
Tell
feel your
me.
edits. That's all. Editing is not a technical skill, it is an emotional skill. Okay, if you cannot feel your edit, you cannot be a good editor. You know, in Bollywood there are editors who are paid lakhs, like multiple, like tens of lakhs of rupees or sometimes crores of rupees, and they don't even touch the tool, the editing tool. They have assistants who are doing the first cut and the second cut. They do come and do some kind of changes and stuff, but there are certain editors who do that. But you know why they are getting paid? Because they know how to feel what they see on the screen. They are capable of feeling the shot. They are capable of feeling the scene on the screen. They're getting paid to feel stuff. And all you have been taught is to distrust your feeling. And people are getting paid in lakhs and crores for that. Right? If you're into this business of creating narratives, you better learn how to start feeling. Don't be disconnected from your feeling. Be very deeply connected with it. We're going to start this new thing called as the Navrasa meditations. where you will be able to get into this deep connection with the feelings of your audience. For 9 days, every day you will go through one rasa and get some deep insights into those rasas, those emotions of your audience. So we'll launch it soon, right? So yeah, again, comes back to the same thing. Even if it is AI, and if you're looking at the output, the way you should judge it is by feeling. Okay. If you see in the AI world, people say that with AI, now your skill is basically having a taste, right? Like you should be able to discern what is good and bad. Good and bad is not an intellectual exercise, it's a feeling. So you have to tune your feeling. You have to get in tune with that. Okay, am I feeling this as something good or bad? Even if it is a design, like how does it feel is more important. And then learn how to translate that feeling into thoughts and thoughts into expressing that feeling. Okay, then if I don't like a design, I should be able to tell you precisely what is it about that design I'm not liking. That is the skill you should be developing right now. If I'm reading an article or if I'm reading a message, what is it about that message and what is the feeling in that message that I'm not liking, and how can we change it and make it more better feeling, right? I was writing something recently, a message, and it sounded very blunt. I could not pinpoint the words in it, but it sounded very blunt, the final output. And so I told ChatGPT that I want you to be respectful and empathetic towards the reader and write it again. And then it changed the whole tone, and then I kind of got the output that I want. But I wouldn't know if this is a good message or not if I was thinking about the message, because technically I was able to communicate everything that I had to, but I was not thinking about the message. I was feeling the message. And when I felt it, I realized this is too blunt. This is slightly on the boundary of being disrespectful. So I don't want that. I want to be respectful and empathetic towards the person who is reading. And so that's what I told ChatGPT, right? And then ChatGPT gave me a better output. How do you have that skill then? By feeling, not by thinking. The era of thinking, you can give the thinking to ChatGPT sometimes, not all the times, of course. But feel first, yeah. First, feel in the creative business. I don't like the word creative because everything is supposed to be creative. But if you are in this business of developing narratives to transform people and change their behavior, the first person who should be feeling all of this is you. Because if you don't feel, they won't feel. If they won't feel, they won't change.
Remember when we were discussing about aesthetics in one of the second meeting, guess, yes.
Yeah.
So it is about first you have to make people, or rather, first the people, any of us, we have to notice something because
Mm.
over a long period of time, things get normalized, which should not get normalized, right? So that is the first thing. Like when you see kachara on the road, and it has been normalized now, people are standing there eating, and they don't get like they don't feel disgusted by it. Right, so
Yes.
even if we have to make a Sundar Bharat, we have to start with the feeling of disgust, like with what is happening around us right now,
Yes.
where there some things need to be thrown out and beautified or whatever, then yes, that is also a feeling, navrasa, the disgust, we have to start
We must
from
start.
there. So yes.
Yes, absolutely. If you don't feel, you don't transform. That's the law of nature, right? Everything can happen. Like you will bring the best of best scientific research to me on why doing certain things is right and doing certain things is wrong. But if I don't make you feel for it, you won't do it. Unfortunately, you have been trained systematically and brainwashed to believe that feelings are stupid.
Emotionlessly you should do things.
Yeah, rationality, right? That is what is being taught to us.
It should feel logical.
Yeah, that's good for computers. Doesn't work
Logic.
with humans. Does not work with humans. No matter how logical your landing pages or communication is, the key that will make that transaction happen is the feeling. not the thought. Okay, you have to go at the para level. Para is like the most fundamental human expression. There are sensations on your body. You know what is feeling? Feelings are sensations in your body. Feelings are the most physical thing. Whatever I am speaking, the words I have on my tongue, they are the most kind of in the air, right? They are the least impactful. The highest impact happens in my body. The goosebumps I get when I hear something, right? Or my heart sinks, or my head is hot, my eyes are hot, right? My throat is dry, I'm feeling weak. Sometimes you're hunched. Sometimes the power, like there is a sense of fatigue in your muscles. All of these are feelings, these are sensations in your body, and even lack of sensations in your body. You have to be aware of them. When you're very in touch with the physicality of your body, you become a very good creator. Nobody will teach you this. Will someone tell you, like, okay, how aware are you of the sensations in your body? That will decide how good of a creator you are. Nobody is going to tell you this because these secrets are not being taught. These are the secrets, right?
These are secrets, and also, Prathamesh, that somewhere we are being trained, like you also mentioned, and we are being trained to not to ignore what our body is feeling, right?
Yes, we are,
So that is
we are
also,
trained for that. Absolutely, we
we
are
are being
brainwashed.
trained for that. When you listen to a very good piece of music, like something which is like very divine, uh, maybe classical, I'll stick to that. That's my favorite genre, right? So you get goosebumps if you're looking at a performance, dance, skit, anything. If it is very powerful, it is very intense, you automatically get goosebumps, right? Whether you understand it or not, whether you understand the nuances, the anything about whether you understand the technicalities or not, but you instinctively know that yes, this was a very powerful piece of musical rendition or a powerful dance form or things like that. But we
Yep.
are told to ignore it. We are like, just um, you should only listen to what we are asking you to listen to. You should only feel what we are telling you to do, right? So
Yes.
it's all about not letting you. It can be said centralization of storytelling, right? We have to move towards decentralization, which was always the part of our culture and our civilization.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. We have never been allowed to feel anything. That's considered as stupid. That's considered as being irrational, having biases. Yet, the people who are teaching this to us are using it against us.
Mm.
You know how ironic this is? I mean, you're being gaslit, literally, by the institutions of the world who you trust. They use emotions to get you to do things. Like they will use fear to get you to take vaccines, right? But they will say, what is the scientific proof and this and that, like all the rational uh, explanations when you question them, right? वहाँ पे emotions don't have a place, but they use it to get you to do things,
Yes.
right? You know how many behavioral science teams were hired to figure out how to get people to take vaccines? Millions of dollars were poured in teams who specialized in behavioral sciences in different universities across the world. And they worked day and night to figure out techniques to get you to do things in India and outside.
Oh, you know what? I'll tell you my own experiences with this
Yeah.
vaccination thing. There are certain things which we need, right? Certain vaccines we need. But there's this, I don't know how many vaccines have come up
Mm.
while my kids were born, and what I got and what they were prescribed. But we decided against. I'll take a simple example of a flu vaccine. There is something called as flu vaccine now. I think it's an yearly thing. I might be wrong, but before the flu season, you give it to your kids. What is happening? We decided against it. We said no, we'll let our kids go. Even if they develop some infection, and they'll have some antibodies, and they'll fight it. Let's just let them fight it. So there are schools where the entire classes are being asked to develop to have this flu vaccines, and the parents are doing it because they are scared that if we don't get our kids inoculated, it's going to be a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah,
But
fear, right? They are using it
so
against you.
counterintuitive, like you have to let your kids have. How will they develop immunity of any kind?
See, I
मिट्टी
have a
में नहीं
simple
खेलो.
question here. I have a simple question. If you are alive today, that means there is a unbroken chain of humans who were able to survive throughout all the problems from the past. And that's why you are alive today, because you are part of an unbroken chain of human civilization. And now all of a sudden you think that you're going to die. Agreed, we are surrounded by all the toxic environment and stuff like that. But if the humans have learned how to adjust to it, okay, all of that is fine. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to get into this discussion. But I have a simple thing here. Let's focus on narrative aspect of it, not anything else. There were scientists. There was this father of RNA vaccines, right? I don't remember his name. He did a podcast with Joe Rogan, and he got cancelled. Now, this guy, who is one of the highest authority, he was getting cancelled systematically to not talk about how the COVID vaccine is bad. And now all of a sudden we know that all of this is true.
Yes,
Whatever he was saying is true.
what he said is true. All these vaccinations were not really required.
Yeah.
My father is a doctor. He's a pediatrician. And what was funny, if he would only prescribe medication if it was really needed. If agar gargle karne se, if the thing he felt that it would go and the kid would be fine within 2 days, he will tell it to the parents, and the parents would be very upset about the fact that the doctor is not prescribing any medication. So they'll go to 10
Yeah.
different doctors, and at the end, they would always eventually end up with my father's clinic, and he would say, "You should have just listened to me." Then he'll again prescribe them something gharelu thing, and it would work. And then that is when they would start trusting him. So I've seen all this happening, right? The science, the narratives that have been created,
Yeah.
especially the
Exactly.
scientific ones. So yeah, it is all a
Because
storytelling, part of
what's
storytelling.
happening is you are not allowed to trust your own feelings. You are given a certain feeling. You are told how to feel. You should be afraid right now. And if you want to get rid of this fear, take the vaccine. That is how you create narratives nowadays. This is the war we are fighting.
It's a war of narratives. So we all have to be master
Yes.
storytellers, right?
Yes. Yes. I mean, trust your feelings, man. Trust your feelings. Try to understand what's happening, what's right, what's wrong. Have this sense of discernment, right? I had so many fights during that time with my family that don't do this. Don't take vaccine. It's not good. Nobody listened. And now you see what it is.
Side effects, big
Yeah.
ones.
Anyways, thankfully, most of our audience is also in the same boat like us. So that's good. And okay, let's stick to the narrative part because that's the
Yeah.
Vishay that we are talking about. Yeah.
So what next?
I think it was good, yeah. Like for today, I think this is very heavy. It's pretty intense. Today's episode itself, we already taught the four elements of your expertise, which is Vishay, Sambandh, Prayojan, and Adhikari. And then we also taught about Para, Pashanti, Madhyama, Vaikri. Two very important and powerful frameworks in content creation. So I think this is good for today. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, you can wrap it up and invite people to our community as well if someone is
Yeah.
interested.
So please come and join us. Prathamesh has started a very revolutionary kind of a community, and we get feedback there. You can, if you're scared, like this is the first time I'm on video. Yet we are still here, right?
Yeah.
And getting, learning more, getting something better, getting better at doing things. So if I could do it, then yeah, you can too. Please join in the Magnetic Creators Club, and it's a free club, and the link is in the description. Please like and subscribe. And one question I have to ask you, Prathamesh, how does it feel like being a guest on your own channel?
I don't know, it feels good, yeah. Feels good. Like there are so many things that I want to tell the world, but this is another very Indian thing. You never give answers until you don't have questions. You don't get questions from others. I have followed this rule for myself almost for the last 5 to 6 years now. It has made my life really simple and easy and peaceful because I don't try to go and give answers to people if they don't ask me questions. But that also means that we need to have such people around us who really have the strong ichha shakti to learn about this knowledge, right? You're one of them. So that's why you were able to ask the right questions and get out these answers. So yeah, like even if you see, there are so many scriptures like Tripura Rahasya was a question and answer book where Parshurama asked questions to Dattatreya. Bhagavad Gita was question and answer where Arjuna asked questions to Krishna. We have so many, like it's one of the most fundamental ways of transferring knowledge in our civilization, which is question and answers. It is never lectures. We have never done lectures. It is Vad
No more.
Vivad, questions, answers. Yeah. So yeah, this is great. I'm really loving it.
Yeah, we need to bring back this Vad Vivad thing. The
Yeah.
polite Vad Vivad, not drawing out, you know.
There is an entire method to that. We will
Yes.
also talk about it. It's written in Nyaya Shastra on how to do Vad. And you know what is the goal of Vad? Today, when you say
Fine.
debate, the goal of debate is to prove your point, right? But the goal of Vad is to find the truth. People never cared if they were right or wrong. What they cared about is what is the truth. That was the intention with which we used to debate in the olden days, early days. Now we don't. Everybody wants to prove their own point. That's another big topic that we can talk about sometime. But
Yes. True.
yeah,
You should be willing to make a fool of yourself. Only then you can
there is nothing like you're
grow
not making a
in
fool out of yourself. Like, see, you will make a fool out of yourself when you're trying to prove a point. But when your objective is not even that, your objective is, I want to know what the truth is. And you establish that at the beginning of your vad and say that this is not, I'm not here to prove my point. I'm here to find the truth. This is what I believe. This is what you believe. In fact, we are launching a course on this in Tark Shastra through Shastra Club. So that is another project we are doing with Ravi Singh Chaudhary. And we are launching a course called as Tarak Shastra, which is how to apply your brain and logic and the level of kind of certain kind of discernment to debate in order to find the truth and make decisions. We are launching a course on that. It's very powerful. So once we launch it, we'll also talk about
Yeah, that's great to hear.
it. Yeah, awesome.
Courses galore. While trying to learn ourselves, you know, we find things we can learn together in a community.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And all of these things, like in the community, we share a lot of this stuff. Like I recently shared about how to do this debate. Uh, in a parenting group, there were a few people who were trying to prove their point and debating. I'm like, guys, you want to debate all you want. But if you're trying to prove your point, this is not the place. If you want to find the truth, this is the place. So understand what the other person is saying. There is this concept called as Purva Paksh and Uttar Paksh. Okay. So Purva Paksh is you, Uttar Paksh is me. Okay. Whenever you start a debate, you know what is the first thing you need to do? I need to tell you what is your point of view before I tell my point of view. Do we do that anymore? We don't,
It's
right?
only I, me, myself these days.
Correct. In fact, in this Nyaya Shastra and this method of debating, I should be able to tell you your side so well that you should not need to explain it anymore to me. You should feel like this guy knows my point better than I know my point. That is how well you should be able to explain the other person's point of view. Purva Paksh. Even if you just learn this one skill, this is one thing out of about 17 to 18 elements of Nyaya Shastra. There are 16 main elements, and then there are more elements beyond that. But if you just learn that, your communication skills will go to the next level. But
Is
anyways, that's for
empathy.
some another day. Huh?
Yes, you need empathy. Again, for this also, you need empathy. If you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
think that my what I think is the
Not
right
just
way.
empathy, you need a lot of energy because low energy people get destroyed when they realize that what they know is not true. But high energy people get excited when they know that what they knew was not true and they found something that is true. You need a lot of energy to be able to handle this. Energy is a big problem. We'll teach that as well. How to
Okay.
build creative energy, mental energy, not just physical energy. Yeah, cool. I think that's it for today. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Prastuti. And if you guys want to
Thanks,
join the club,
Prathamesh.
there is a link in description or the pinned comments. Send a message to me, and if you are really serious about it, I'll add you. Okay. Thank you, Prastuti, for having me.
Bye.
Bye bye.